Tonight we are going in depth, and once again we are covering cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin itself specifically, reached an all-time high last night, and today it stayed at historic highs all day. Here is Bitcoin's chart since Donald Trump was elected to return to the White House a month ago. The price of one Bitcoin was well over $100,000 for most of the day. Bitcoin has never reached this price point before, and it has been breaking price records multiple times over the past month. One thing to note, you'll see we just changed it. The price fell below 100K again because so many people are making so much money right now. Many people, especially long-term holders, are taking their financial gains now instead of waiting to see what happens. Here is an investor explaining what is happening right now.
And just imagine, I mean, if Bitcoin has done this so far just based on optimism, imagine what happens if there actually is some regulatory progress, right? Once we actually start to see some good positive results, I mean, Bitcoin could certainly go higher.
The price of Bitcoin and even other cryptocurrencies to a smaller extent are higher today because President Donald Trump nominated not just a crypto-friendly Treasury Secretary that we mentioned a few weeks ago, but also now a new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commissions. Trump named Paul Atkins to be the new head of the SEC, the agency that will monitor crypto trading. And he's no stranger to the SEC. He was a commissioner from 2002 to 2008, and he supports Trump's desires to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, and even set up a strategic reserve of crypto, Bitcoin specifically, within the federal government. Atkins was part of Trump's economic team also during his first term. If this was any other president coming into office, the job of the SEC chairman was not even supposed to be considered for a couple of years now. But then Trump made this promise on the campaign trail last summer.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
The current SEC chairman, who you see here, Gary Gensler, has been seen as a foe of cryptocurrency throughout the Biden administration. He agreed to step down before Trump returns to the White House on January 20th. It was not clear if Trump could actually fire Gensler, but he was certainly going to try. Now the only path of resistance is getting Atkins confirmed through the U.S. Senate, which should not be a problem. Why does all of this matter? What does this mean to me? You're probably sitting at home watching. We are on the verge of having a new form of money out in the world, both at Wall Street and on Main Street. But for years, people who have invested in cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, have actually been pleading for the federal government to write regulations on this very subject, and the feds have just refused to act. The current Biden administration plans have been to use old laws from the 1940s to regulate crypto and then crack down on any fraud that might occur. But that isn't good enough. And it keeps things from going into, and it keeps stuff in a Wild West situation that other countries are actually on the verge of taking advantage of.
One of the biggest problems the crypto industry has had isn't the idea there's too much regulation. It's just the regulation's not even clear. We're trying to apply laws from literally 1946, a famous Supreme Court case called the Howey test, to we're trying to apply that to a digital asset industry that's been developed in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And so it just doesn't fit. And I think as we bring this new, really the Trump cabinet to bear, getting those clear rules, which we've been asking for under the Biden administration for years, I think we're finally going to get that clarity, which will help the U.S. lead again.
Think about this. When have you ever heard in your life millionaires and CEOs of anything begging for more regulation? That is what's happening here. Here is Atkins himself 6 years ago talking about crypto, saying the U.S. needs to write rules, own crypto, especially Bitcoin, and keep things here, or it will go overseas where fraud and funny business is likely to increase and be out of control forever.
The SEC ultimately, I feel strongly, is not and should not be a merit regulator, and so its basic goal should be to figure out how should we bring order to this particular marketplace, because people will buy them. They'll buy them either here or they'll buy them overseas, and the better standard, I think, is to have some sort of a market where people can do so safely.
And let's not forget, Trump himself campaigned to be the most crypto-friendly president in American history. Kamala Harris's campaign was asked many times about crypto policy, and reporters were told she was open to some reforms, but thought that what was in place right now is doing actually very well for the most part. Trump not only went to crypto conventions, but he also visited crypto bars, gaining a whole new segment of voters looking for a change in this market.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else. And if Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon, I want America to be the nation that leads the way. And that's what's going to happen.
Keep in mind everything you've heard. We expect there to be brand new policies and regulations actually coming from multiple places. Let's take a look. Reforms will likely need to come from both the White House through some executive action, Congress when it comes to actually writing new regulations, and then also the Securities and Exchange Commission itself, who will ultimately regulate this long term. Some reforms could come quickly and some could take a while. As always, and a friendly reminder, when we talk about cryptocurrency on this program, our reporting is not meant to be single source financial advice. Investing involves risk. While you may make gains, you can also incur losses, including complete loss of the entire initial investment. Please consult a personal financial advisor and make investments that are right for you and your means and your financial situation.